Welcome back to the Crypto's Key Conversation. I wanted to quickly touch on this. This is CoinMarketCap showing XRP's price action, right? And if we come over here, this is on the 7-day here, and it has a high of 87 cents. I think Coinbase had a high of like 90 something cents the other day when we got the relisting on Coinbase. But I just wanted to show this because obviously you have the likes of like Charles Gasparino saying, pretty much saying good luck retiring on a 70-cent XRP or whatever. And people have been speculating like, Ripple didn't win, and this can be put on a pill and they can lose, and look at the price, you guys shot up and then it shot down. This doesn't really look like a victory. It's like really interesting. It's like obviously we had over 100, I think it was like 100% price increase, right? So, and of course there's going to be some some drawbacks and we're going to go down. I mean it is what it is. I mean, that's a healthy part of it, right? Is to go up, kind of come back down a little bit, touch some supports, and then consolidate it, all the technical analysis stuff they say, and then just go up in a healthy fashion. So I just quickly wanted to throw that up in there just to get to lead me into this conversation. So we're going to start with Charles Gasparino right here. He says, "Hey, to break it to the XRP pumpers, Ripple will be paying money on the part of the case it lost. Plus, there isn't a securities lawyer I've interviewed who thinks the part they won stands on appeal." So it's interesting that Charles Gasparino has taken the position he's taken. Obviously, I was looking at some more of his tweets that he had put out, and he's focusing on like the side of the litigation with SEC versus Ripple in regards of the violation that the judge had pretty much split the baby, saying XRP isn't a security, right? It's not an investment contract. And then on the other side, when it came to Ripple, them selling, XRP to investors, institutional investors, I guess that was the violation, if I'm not misspeaking. And that's kind of what he's covering. He's covering what are they going to have to pay in that violation. So coming down here, actually, I'm going to go to this next one. John Deaton, JD says, "Charlie, those same security lawyers told me I was wasting my time." So I'm assuming he's saying, wasting his time with the whole amicus, the 75,000+, class action lawsuit members, and just his efforts within the space, right? Saying that these other securities lawyers at the same time were saying that they were wasting his time. Some laughed and made fun of me in my writ of mandamus that I openly acknowledged was unique, but filed for strategic purposes that played out as I had anticipated. In my motion to intervene and amicus request, I see these lawyers now saying that tours will be overturned. Since you already owe me a steak dinner, I will bet those lawyers regarding the appeal. They were wrong in predicting a complete SEC victory, and they are wrong now about the Second Circuit in the Supreme Court on appeal. Here's a reminder to those same folks that I predict the SEC would lose, but that Ripple wouldn't get a complete victory, which he was completely accurate on that. They split the baby. It wasn't a complete victory, and we just talked about that. And then there's some more stuff right here. So this is Charles Gasparino talking about the whole. Remember, Eleanor Terry came out and said she was pretty bummed out that Fox and Charles Gasparino and Eleanor Terry didn't get the exclusive first interview after the Ripple win, right? And then you had Charles Gasparino was going on Twitter, trolling, saying sad, huh? What's I think he was saying something along the lines like, "What's a win with price action like this? Good luck retiring on 70-cent XRP," whatever. He was kind of going on his rant, right? So Charles Gasparino says, I wanted no interview. Never asked. Eleanor Terry did because she's the axe on Ripple beat. But we are now doing a story on how much money Ripple will be paying, if any, to settle part of the SEC case it lost. We are where are they getting it from the balances from the balance sheet XRP sales? So that's kind of like what he's focusing on, and that's that whole like spinning the narrative, right? What's interesting though, even right here, it says settle on the part of the SEC case it lost. So is he validating that there was a solid victory, an overwhelming victory on what actually mattered in regards of XRP being a security or not? Like he just validated it here with this, right? So coming down here, Brad Garland House yesterday has said, "Charlie, happy to come into the studio anytime to discuss the facts. Any attempts by the SEC to paint this as some sort of split victory is pathetic. They lost on everything that matters," and that's literally what we just said. Obviously, there's been conversations with lawyers within our community that said the judge split the baby, but that doesn't mean that there was a split victory, right? They lost on everything that matters, as many lawyers have noted, not just Ripple's. To your question here, about potential penalties, that is up to the court to decide, not the SEC. You very well know this case was never about fines or penalties. It was about establishing the non-security status of XRP. We won, they lost, and that's the facts. It's a hard stop. It's a law that the digital asset XRP is not a security. It's crazy, man. And Charles had put this up. Question I have for Brad: will he sell XRP to pay the penalty, which could be substantial? I mean, it's really interesting. He's covering that part of the story, which is cool. Do your thing, but it's crazy. And I like JV right here, because even outside of Charles Gasparino, we're talking about like the maxis out there. Even like when Tony Edwards from Thinking Crypto and XRP Darren hosted that Twitter Spaces. You know, you had a gentleman, it sounded like a smart legal mind, came in and he was speculating on the appeal and how it can be overturned and all these different things. And it just seemed like it was like the whole trying to spin the narrative, like the Bitcoin maxis and, you know, the powers that be try to do, right? So JV goes, they still want XRP to be a security so bad. And remember, JV is a gentleman that really, when he came out with his tweets, he would challenge even with what a lot of the XRP community was, you know, putting out there, like in regards of, you know, Ripple's completely innocent, Brad Garland, Chris Larson, all these different things, right? But he would throw out other things like, okay, well, what about this? And what happens if that? Like, he kind of really took a objective approach to everything and really tried to analyze and start conversations that I think were pretty significant and powerful. And I think a lot of people respected it in the community. Not to say that he was right on his viewpoints. Not everybody's right all the time, but this is a gentleman that was doing that. So yeah, they still want XRP to be a security so bad. Stuart Alderati, this is awesome. He goes, did someone drop their security? This was back in September 29, 2021. And it's the orange, right? So we're talking about the Howie, right? The orange groves, right? And they were trying to say, based on our litigation with SEC versus Ripple, they were talking about the oranges themselves aren't the security. So the digital asset XRP is not a security, right? And then Stuart Alderati says, did someone drop their security? Guess not, right? And he had posted that, and Tony was like, ha 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 ha. Yeah, I started dying when I saw that. Solid victory, man. Coming over here, Jeremy Hogan put this out. He says, I nominate for Crypto Attorney of the Year 2023, Stuart Alderati and JD. These two navigated Ripple and XRP holders through the eye of the legal needle. This case could have gone bad in about 20 different ways. These two steered it through the storm. Amazing. Absolutely, hands down. I 100% agree, man. We were, just like JD says, we were blessed to have the judges presiding over this case and this litigation, right? We were extremely blessed to have, first of all, the community that we have, the XRP community, and more specifically, the solid members within the community, the people that really try to take an objective approach, that really, put their boots on the ground and was making content, sharing things, researching, making videos, and doing everything they possibly can to fight the good fight, joining the class action lawsuit, all those things, right? We are very blessed to have the community we have, and it's a decentralized community. 99% of us don't even know each other outside of, the internet. It's crazy. And then we were extremely blessed with the legal minds that were part of the community that truly saw some wrongdoings and wanted to take action on it. Obviously, Stuart Alderati, being Ripple's general counsel, has an obligation to Ripple, but JD just, literally coming out of nowhere and standing strong, man. It's nuts. There was XRP Crypto Wolf has said, describe Ripple in one GIF, or whatever the heck it's called, GIF. And I had put Optimus Prime, and I said, when he says, let them come. Because quite honestly, that's what it's felt like. When you have Brad Garland talking, Stuart Alderati, you have JD and the 75,000 plus class action lawsuit members. Like, it's literally what it was. It was like, we're standing our ground. Let them come. Throw anything you want at us. We're going to stand strong and united. And that's what happened. And now you're finally starting to see the rest of the crypto community wake up, because they see what Chairman Gerson and the SEC are trying to do and have been doing, which JD's been saying that from the drop of the lawsuit back in December 2020, right? We were standing alone as the XRP community. Now you're having other players, Coinbase, Gemini, all those, the Winklevosses and the like, right? Finally starting to open their eyes and fight back and joining the fight against Chairman Gensler and the SEC and just the corrupt individuals trying to suppress this space so they can continue to accumulate and get a bigger piece of the pie, right? It's crazy. Moving on here. This is Brad Garland House. I put this up. I'm just going to play a little bit of this, but he's saying, hoping yesterday's decision is the wake-up call that Congress needs. The ruling directly undercuts the SEC's claim that nearly all tokens are inherently securities, likely to set a positive precedent for other digital tokens in the U.S. So this is massive. Remember, it's never just about Ripple or XRP. It was about the entire space, right? You had the likes of David Schwartz. You had Stuart Alderati, Brad Garland House, and the rest of the XRP community. Like, we've been saying that. We've all said it. It's like, this is bigger than just this one digital asset and this one company. Yeah, Ripple's going to do what they have to do for their company, their business, and their shareholders and stuff, of course. But at the end of the day, they were trying to fight the good fight for the entire industry, and it's been evident. So let's listen into this really quick.
It's ironic, the mission statement of the United States Securities and Exchange Commission is to protect investors. They went after Ripple, suggesting that, all kinds of things, everything we were doing was selling an unregistered security. And the judge really very clearly said, sales through exchanges, not a security. When it's used for compensation, not a security. When it's used for incentives around the overall XRP ecosystem, not a security. So, we have already moved a lot of our activity, and frankly, 95% of our customers are non-US. So a lot of our activity has been outside the U.S. jurisdiction because that's where our customer demand is. But I think that's where the U.S. is losing. And I think what the SEC has been trying to do is to put power and politics over what is really just sound policy and providing clear rules of the road such that entrepreneurs and investors can participate in this amazing new market around crypto and blockchain technologies.
So this is still a legal process playing out. I think people watching, an SEC appeal process, what that looks like. What does it mean for your company in your business in the interim?
Look, as a matter of law, the law of the land right now is that XRP is not a security. And until there is an opportunity for the SEC to file an appeal, which would take years, and frankly, we're very optimistic. If they were to file an appeal, we think that only further solidifies the decision this judge made. Because, look, as a matter of law, as a matter of the facts, and really as a matter of looking back in the history here, for the SEC, really, it's overreach to suggest, as the chair has said many times, that basically everything in the crypto space is a security. Well, we now have a judge very clearly saying that is just not true, and very clearly saying XRP is not a security on exchanges and all these different use cases, which I think helps the whole industry for sure. So this is a win for Ripple. It's also a win for the entire crypto industry. And I think that's why you saw the crypto industry react so positively over the last 24 hours.
Straight up and down, man. And there's a few things. So from that video, from the rest of the Bloomberg interview that I saw, and the spaces that I saw with XRP Darren and Tony Edwards from Thinking Crypto, Brad Garland House speaking in there, there's a couple things that was pretty significant. So we covered some of it yesterday, but I'm going to reiterate some things. So what about that whole thing that Craig DeWitt was talking about in regards of, what if the next 2 years, or this next bull cycle, XRP and BTC, Bitcoin being the only two digital assets that have regulatory clarity? And let's take it a step further. Bitcoin technically doesn't have regulatory clarity. I mean, I'm talking about by law, right? I'm not 100% sure what the verbiage is. If there is any verbiage, I know it's all been, pretty much he said, she said when it comes to the SEC and the CFTC. But is there like binding law? I guess that's, a big question mark. But like, what if XRP is, XRP and Bitcoin are the only two that have that go ahead green light? You know what I'm saying? Like, what does that mean for price action? What does that mean for growth? On top of, people building on XRP, more devs and more, more companies being built, more tech, or like more innovation, like throwing more, what do you call those, NFT projects, and putting more real world assets on the XRP ledger, and just so many different things. Like, what does that mean? It's going to be significant, right? And then he's talking about appeals when it comes to the SEC appealing litigation, right? It could take years. So pretty much just saying, hey, welcome to the club, Chairman Guns from the SEC. It can take you years to do that. By that time, we could be through the next cycle, you know what I'm saying? And then what about like the whole IPO, Ripple's IPO? I forgot, I wish I would have put it on here, but I forgot the exact verbiage Brad Garland House was talking about. But he was talking about to put it simply, it was like there's still so much scrutiny and negative aggression and just uninviting behavior from our regulators here in regards of crypto. So he kind of made me feel like, and I felt like why would they want to IPO out here in the United States? Why couldn't they IPO somewhere else? You know what I'm saying? Where they are accepted, they are wanted, and there is a true, map and support and guideline for them to flourish. Interesting. And that's just a conversation that I think I'm excited to see kind of how unfolds on Twitter, what our legal minds have to say about it. But I'm curious to see where they're going to IPO. Mr. Huber, it says right here, my best guess, Ripple will settle with the SEC paying a ridiculous high penalty for the institutional sales and agree to register them in the future. That's the last needed piece for the SEC to not appeal and celebrate with the fingers their victory. Yeah, we know what that means. Moving on here, DAI had put this up. It says, watch team, I think it's Cavuto, blow off Ripple when he had Brock Pierce on. So listen to this. This is shameful. It goes back to what JV's saying, man. They want, it's like that whole narrative. Like they're doing everything in their power to belittle what's actually happened. And, majority of these maxis and these powers that be, if you will, they want, XRP to be a security so bad. Listen to this.
One thing that's worth noting that just happened moments ago, one of the other major cryptocurrencies, Ripple, or otherwise known as XRP, the SEC had charged them a major case going on, and XRP just won in their case against the SEC. This is an incredible event, a very important precedent of the SEC losing the biggest case that's been running for years, deeming that XRP and the trades and transactions that have occurred are not securities, which I think is really the most important thing as we're looking at what's happening here with Coinbase. Very big deal.
But it probably is, Brock, but to your point, I mean, that hasn't stopped Washington. And again, it depends on what part of Washington you're looking at. But with both parties seemingly united on trying to do something about this, it's almost like their AI involvement. Be careful what you wish for.
Okay. So without watching the entire segment on this Fox Business interview here, he literally just, okay, that's cool, but to your point, this or that, it's just crazy, man. It's like, do you know what's happening? Do you actually know what happened and what it means? We're talking about the digital asset crypto space, right? I mean, that's almost everything, literally. He's talking about, it's huge, monumental, setting precedent. I mean, how could you not, touch on that more? And how could you not acknowledge it in a more positive light and just kind of disregard it like this gentleman did? Like I said, I didn't watch the whole entire segment. I watched this clip and another one, but it is what it is. DAI also put this up. He goes, one of my guilty pleasures, watching depressed Bitcoin maxis downplay the significance of XRP being the only digital asset with legal clarity. Reminder, Bitcoin and Ethereum have only ever had what I call personal opinion clarity, the opinion of the person or people currently running the SEC, CFTC, or Bill Hinman, not legal clarity. So literally what I was just talking about. So we're going to just listen into about 1 minute of this, just so you can get the vibe that he's trying to send here.
So at the same time that this Celsius news is coming in, we also just got a ruling in the SEC Ripple case. What's the significance of this?
Yeah, so in my understanding, this is actually rulings on requests for summary judgment from both sides. So it actually doesn't mean that there won't be full in-court trial litigation of these claims. What was granted, I believe, was the SEC's claim that the Ripple's sales directly to investors constituted the sale of securities. That was granted, so that summary judgment did pass. It looks like there was not a summary judgment passed on programmatic sales of Ripple, of their XRP token owned by Ripple through exchanges, because that was not them selling directly from the company to the investor. It was intermediated by exchanges. So they said that did not warrant a summary judgment in favor of the SEC's position.
Now, in the last half hour, we saw Coinbase and MicroStrategy stock shoot up. So how is the industry reading into this, this document that just came out?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like on first read, they're expecting that the secondary sales may be relatively more in the clear. So when a company isn't directly shilling their securities via ICO or the way that Ripple corporate has marketed and sold Ripple token, XRP, whatever, to investors in direct sales over the years.
Anyways, this gentleman needs to inform himself more on what actually happened within litigation. But just to go into what, DAI is talking about and leading into what's happening with Coinbase, Meta Lawman had put this up yesterday that I wanted to cover. It says, SC versus Coinbase first hearing update. Lawyers from both sides had the first hearing before the judge handling the case. Reports from the court proceeding are mainly positive for Coinbase. Here's what you should know. 1, quote from the judge. It's not crazy for Coinbase to think what they were doing was okay based on the issuance of the S1. 2, the judge asked what the SEC's position is on whether Ether is a security. The SEC lawyer said, quote, I don't believe the commission has spoken on Ether. 3, the major questions doctrine was discussed. 4, CoinDesk reports that the judge, quote, at times showed skepticism toward the SEC's messages. 5, the judge said her docket was very busy for the next few months, signaling she may not have time to make a quick ruling on motions. Bottom line, it's hazardous to read too much into the statements made by a judge at an initial conference. All she has to go on are short letters from each side. That said, the judge asked good questions and seemed skeptical of some of the SEC's answers. So then he has an update here today, and he says, we now have the transcript of the pre-motion conference held on Thursday. Things went worse for the SEC than was initially reported. The judge explicitly aligned herself with Coinbase on a key argument. That is unusual for a first appearance. Judge Felia, quote, it's not crazy in Felia's parlance for Coinbase to think that what they were doing was okay because it was exactly what you let them do when they issued the S1 IPO registration. Quote, that's the point I'm making. Note, the judge says she is making this point. Judge, quote, you, SEC, may say that Coinbase, and I, the judge, are reading too much into the issuance of S1. Here again, the judge aligns herself with Coinbase. This is a significant tell and not a good one for the SEC. Prediction: it gets worse from here for the SEC. Yeah, that'd be awesome, man. Just literally shut them down, man. Meta Lawman coming out with these updates is huge, man. We really appreciate it. Tony Edwards from Thinking Crypto says, folks, despite a big victory in the SEC Ripple lawsuit, our fight is not over. Coinbase, the most regulated exchange, is getting cease and desist for staking. The banking cartel don't want you to take your cash out of JP Morgan, Bank of America, etc., and put it into crypto, which help you to earn a higher return. They're fighting hard to stop you from using your money in a better way and earning a passive income. And quite honestly, man, I feel this. I want to do what I want to do with my money. And if Coinbase offers a service that allows me to make yield and earn passive income and gain rewards and all these things, and they're obviously a regulated, company, I mean, why can't I do that? For the betterment for me and my kids. Like, why can't I do that? So, we're going to continue to fight the good fight and continue to make content and share. And like, I got involved with, JD has sent out that Coinbase stuff and just trying to do my part, man. We'll kind of see how things happen. But just like Meta Lawman says, it seems like the prediction is going to be it's only going to get worse for the SEC from here. So I'm going to quickly hurry this up. This is a weekly recap from Watcher Guru. 1, U.S. judge rules XRP is not a security. 2, U.S. inflation falls to 3% lower than expectations. 3, Europe to launch first spot Bitcoin ETF this month. 4, former SEC chairman says spot Bitcoin ETF should be approved. 5, Coinbase relists XRP. 6, 9 trillion asset manager BlackRock CEO says crypto will transcend international currencies due to global demand. 7, SEC acknowledges BlackRock spot Bitcoin ETF application. 8, SEC acknowledges Fidelity, VanEck, WisdomTree, and Invesco spot Bitcoin ETF applications. 9, Bank of America ordered to pay $250 million for charging illegal fees and opening credit card accounts without customer consent. 10, Australian Securities and Exchange receives first spot Bitcoin ETF application. I mean, huge, right? And I wanted to cover this before I got out of here. Nebuch, we're just gonna say, It says, which member of the XRP community inspires you to keep going and never give up? So this hit home with me because there was a point in my phase, especially before I started making content in 2022. I've been in this space since late 2017, invested in Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP. Those were my first ones that I got in. Rolled it all the way up to XRP's all-time high, didn't sell. I've had my trials and tribulations within this space ever since. Got rugged, got part of a scam project, lost a crap ton of gains, lost money, just everything you can possibly think of as a newcomer coming into the space and just learning through the ebbs and flows of the market, right? And there was a phase, I want to say late 2019, I would say late 2019, mid to late 2019, where I really started hitting a rut, man. And I really started questioning everything that I was involved in. I was going through stuff in my relationship. A lot of things were big question marks in my life. When it came to this space, I just felt like I wasn't winning. I wasn't doing the right things. I wasn't growing. I wasn't learning, and I wasn't achieving my goals. I had left a career out in Arizona. I was a firefighter in Arizona. I left a career and moved back to California, where my ex lived, for the betterment of her and being around her family and for my kids. And I became a full-time dad. So I was trying to find ways to, still be a full-time dad, support, my family, my kids, and be there, and trying to find other ways to bring more income and change the financial course of our lives. And just a lot of things weren't going right. They weren't going according to plan, and I just was getting things wrong, and I really started feeling down on myself. And quite honestly, I ran into DAI, and I'm going to shout this man out because he's an individual I hope I get to meet someday and really just shake his hand and just let him know, like, dude, it's just it almost felt like we were having conversations, I don't really drink, so I would say he'd have a drink in his hand, I'd have a Gatorade in my hand or water or something. But like literally, I just felt like watching his content sometimes. I just felt like we were just sitting there conversating. And it was in those moments that during that hard time, I really just kind of really realized, okay, you're not so wrong. You're not as wrong as you think you are. And you are doing some things right. And one of the things that I was doing right was continuing to hodl XRP, continuing to accumulate, and continuing to research Ripple, XRP, and the significance of it, right? And obviously the lawsuit dropped. That brought some more chaos and negativity into my life. But at that point, I felt like I was grounded. Like I felt like I knew the writing was on the wall, like he says, right? And even when the lawsuit dropped, all it did was further validate why I was heavily invested in XRP. When it comes to me, when I say heavily, meaning a majority of the money I had allocated in the space, which isn't much. I'm small pennies compared to even the normal everyday investor. I'm just going to say it. But it was during that time, DAI really helped keep me grounded. He had a great way of, in a southern accent, of just kind of further explaining things, showing you, what is actually happening behind or beneath the surface, if you will, right? Obviously we see the tip of the iceberg when it comes to mainstream media and all this stuff, right? But he would dive further into the stuff and really show us more of the iceberg. And it made me just dive further into the space and get more involved. And obviously I grew to 2022. I was like, I'm gonna start making content myself. I'm in this every day. And I just developed more confidence in what I was doing. And I felt more proud, and I felt like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, on top of obviously taking care of my family, getting my master's, starting a teaching career and doing all those things, right? So long story short, man, is I wanted to show a lot of love to DAI. Very humble guy. I think it's from South Georgia. I love how he talks about his family. I'm a big family man. I got my two boys, and I want to raise them in a financial position and situation in life that allows me to be there for them as much as possible and to do anything that I possibly can do for them. And like he says, I want to help create a future that allows fairness and a level playing field for my kids. And I think me being involved in this space, getting involved in class action lawsuits, making content, doing my part is only helping to lead to that. Obviously, look what happened within litigation with Ripple and the SEC. Like, this was huge precedent. XRP not a security. That's huge for the space, right? That leads into what happens in the future for my children. They have their own set of digital assets that I store for them on, wallets. They have their own that they're going to have, when they get old enough to do what they want with it. Like, things like that matter to me. And long story short, man, I'm just going to end it here. DAI, man, I have a lot of love and respect for you, brother. You really were that light that I needed to see in that dark tunnel, especially during those times. So, man, a lot of love and respect, man. Shout out DAI, man. And I know you're following him. And if you're not, you need to follow him. But, there's a lot of other YouTubers and I don't call them influencers, just a lot of solid people out there that do the same thing. Jeremy Hogan's, the JDs, you have, Moon Lambo's a solid one, and James Rule XRP, Darren, Tony Edwards. I mean, there's a lot of solid people out there that really help people, and I see it in the comments and stuff, man. It's huge, and I hope one day that maybe someone here's my channel, and they go, man, that's a solid dude, man. He really helped keep me informed and kept me grounded and helped me, stay involved in this space. Who knows? But that's my video. That's all I have for you. Make sure you come to the Crypto is Key Conversations YouTube channel, subscribe, follow us on Twitter at CryptoIsKey1. I really appreciate your support. With all that being said, stay strong out there and be safe.